What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Need for Speed Unbound, and in this video I did want to go over something I have been thinking about recently, which I would say many players have, and that's going to be the launch of Need for Speed Unbound. So overall, guys, I think we can all agree this game is going to be pretty dang solid. Sure, it might have some flaws to it, which honestly most games nowadays when they release really do have some issues like Dakar Desert Rally and Modern Warfare 2 as well, so you can definitely tell how some games probably needed some more time in development. Now, one thing this actually brought me to, guys, is the main discussion of this video. Do you guys think Battlefield 2042, with how it took some of the developers away from Need for Speed, do you guys think it hurt this game in any way? So to be honest, I have been trying to research this a little bit and look into this more, and we know Need for Speed Unbound did end up getting delayed for a little bit because of Battlefield 2042, and honestly, that game release is an absolute dumpster fire. I think we can all agree it's definitely doing a lot better now, but do you guys think that really did mess up Need for Speed Unbound? They did take some of the devs off or something and or delayed the game a little bit. I'm sure this game also had some type of deadline it had to be finished by as well, hence how like multiplayer doesn't have cops and stuff like that, and some of the things are missing like nighttime. I would say if they did have more time with the game, I feel like it would probably have that. I do want to know though, do you guys think 2042 really messed up Need for Speed? Because I feel like 2042 is going to be a pretty decent game now, but my goodness, guys, when that game released, I feel like everybody absolutely hated it. There was like barely any content on it, and they pretty much had to take over a year or more just to get the game on a track to what it really should have been like. I really do think it's sad now how some of the games nowadays basically have to come out like broken, and it's kind of unfortunate how some of the players do accept the games to be kind of broken and or missing tons of content. I know a lot of people feel this way about Modern Warfare 2. I would also say something like Dakar Desert Rally is probably going to be in this category as well, because just playing the game you're probably like, my goodness, man, like this legitimately could have took at least another 6 months to a year in development to actually get it to where it should have been. Like the game's releasing without content being shown in a trailer. We even have some games releasing without combat records and legitimate things that should be in like an FPS shooter. I would say Battlefield 2042 was probably one of the worst Battlefield launches ever. Like, my goodness, I know Battlefield 4's was also, well, pretty rocky for the most part, but that game was fixed over time, probably similar to how 2042 is. I would say, guys, if you might have been wondering though, the best launch for Battlefield I would probably say is Battlefield 1. Let me know your guys' thoughts about that in the comments below, but if I had to guess as well, I would say most people are also wondering how this game would have been if it did not get interfered by 2042. I was also wondering this for quite a while because I know this game obviously did get delayed. It most likely still had a deadline. They had to go back to it and or work on it in that aspect. So I really do wonder though if they didn't work on 2042, if they could have put more time into this game with like adding more stuff into multiplayer. I know a lot of players are wondering why there's no nighttime and/or police, so I feel like that would have came out if it wasn't for 2042. I do have to admit though, guys, even with that not being in the game, I would say Unbound's launch is definitely going to be pretty solid. I know many players have been seeing many visual glitches and stuff like floating trees and/or rocks, but if you guys have been playing the Crew 1 and/or the Crew 2, I would say floating objects are not going to be new to you, my goodness. For example, with the Crew 2, guys, I'm sure many players probably know about that really crazy underwater glitch where you can basically drive around the entire map underwater, and sure, that glitch is going to be insane, but it really didn't affect the game in a negative way. I'm sure seeing some floating rocks and or trees in the game could really make you go, man, they did not finish this game, did they? But then one of the other ways I also look at this is the fact that maybe they didn't want to go after and try to fix something like that knowing the game was probably coming out and or they had a deadline. They were most likely focusing on like the actual gameplay and like the servers and all that good stuff, which I can definitely understand that. They can always go back and fix some of the map and visual glitches and stuff that might end up showing up, but I really do wonder if 2042 had something to do with this. I really do want to know what you guys think in the comments below, because my goodness, that game was so broken for a while, and a lot of players are probably still pretty annoyed with it. I mean, when I checked Steam not too long ago, the game had like 10,000, 15,000 players on it, so I think a game that's only a couple of years old with that many players is pretty bad, and even when it came out, it was insanely low with a player base as well. So I would say having a game with a really bad launch and something is probably going to make many players refund it and are not even going back to the game because they probably do not see a point. But regardless, even with 2042 being as it was, guys, Need for Speed Unbound to me I feel like is still going to be a really solid game. sure, like I mentioned before, it does have some visual glitches and stuff like that. And if I had to guess as well, I would say one of the biggest discussions about Need for Speed Unbound is probably going to be the graffiti and or like the visual effects in the game. And what's kind of funny, guys, is after playing Unbound more and more, I'm actually kind of liking the effects now. I kind of feel like it gives the game some type of its own character and or, makes it unique in its own way, which I would say many racing games probably do need this to really differentiate each one on how they're going to have different things about them, because they honestly all can't be the same. I feel like this game being like arcade and all that, I think is going to make it a lot more fun. I'd rather see the game be more arcadey like this than being some type of simulator. I would say many players would probably agree with that. Arcade racers really are a lot of fun, and obviously the Crew 2 is going to be in that category. Some even might say Forza is going to also be kind of like a arcadey type of racing game as well. Something that's kind of like a simulator to me is going to be like Drive Club or something like that. And these games are going to be so much different than each other. Like, you really cannot compare them. Like, for example, how the stories go or how the gameplay is, how the cars drive. It's all really different in their own way, which I really do think is going to make these games a lot more fun. I really do feel like Unbound does have a great foundation for the future of this game, and I cannot wait to see what they do with it. The biggest question I'm sure many players are asking, though, is to have some type of things in there, like, for one, being able to turn the effects off, seeing police on multiplayer, maybe changing the economy around in the game just a little bit, which I will be making a separate video about that as well, but I can definitely see where players' concerns are with a lot of things, and I really do feel like in the future, guys, we will definitely see some changes with all of this, but at the same time, I can see how it's going to be really hard not to get mad at some of this stuff and or get frustrated, because for one, many games really do come out nowadays with a lot of issues, and it really makes you wonder if they even played them at all. Like, for example, the Car Desert Rally, I really do wonder if they actually play tested the game after all the issues I was finding in it. My goodness. Not only that, though, like Modern Warfare missing some of its features as well, so I'm sure many people are like, my goodness, I really don't think they actually play the game or they really do test it out, or maybe they're not having time to do so. I really don't know what it is, but again, guys, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. And even with 2042 massively probably affecting Need for Speed Unbound, but even with that, I would say this game still had a pretty solid launch, and I can't wait to see what they do with it in the future.